The night sky over Montana burned with something that didn't belong there. Dale Hutchins had been checking fence lines when a streak of fire tore across the darkness, trailing sparks and debris like a dying comet. The sound came seconds later, a shrieking roar that made his chest vibrate and sent his horses into a panic. Whatever was hit hard somewhere beyond the north pasture, and the ground shook beneath his boots. Dale didn't hesitate. He jumped on his ATV and gunned the engine, racing across the dark fields toward the impact site. The smell hit him first, acrid and chemical, nothing like any fire he'd known. Then he saw it, a massive shape half buried in scorched earth, metal twisted and glowing red in places. It wasn't any aircraft he recognized. The hull was smooth where it wasn't torn open, covered in patterns that seemed to shift in the firelight. Movement near a gaping hole in the side caught his attention. Something small stumbled out, collapsed, tried to rise again. Dale's heart hammered as he approached. Not something. Someone. The being was maybe 4 feet tall, delicate-looking, with skin that shimmered between blue and purple in the flame's glow. Large eyes, too large to the face, turned toward him with pure terror. More of them were emerging now, some dragging others, all of them injured. Dale counted maybe 15 before he stopped counting and started helping. He ran back to his ATV, grabbed the first aid kit, and returned to find one of the beings cradling another who wasn't moving. The skin of the injured one had turned ashen gray. "Easy, easy," Dale said, though he had no idea if they understood. He pressed gauze against the wound on the gray one's arm, trying to stop the bleeding. The caretaker made a sound musical and broken, and Dale felt something in his chest tighten. Pain was universal, apparently. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911. "Yeah, this is Dale Hutchins on Route 47. I need emergency services out here right now. We got injured people, lots of them, and I think they're not from around here." The dispatcher started asking questions, but Dale was already moving to the next injured being. This one had burns across their chest, the shimmering skin blackened and cracked. Dale's hand shook as he tried to remember basic first aid, treating burns on someone whose biology he didn't understand. Within 20 minutes, sirens filled the night. Fire trucks, ambulances, sheriff's vehicles, and then National Guard trucks rolling in from a nearby base. Rodriguez, a field medic Dale knew from town, jumped out and stopped dead at the sight. "What the hell?" "They need help," Dale said simply. "That's all that matters right now." Rodriguez nodded and got to work. More medics joined in, and Dale watched as trained professionals adapted on the fly, treating alien injuries with human medicine and improvisation. Nobody panicked. Nobody stood around debating what to do. They just helped. By dawn, a field hospital had been established. Military tents, medical equipment, and a perimeter of soldiers who faced outward, not inward. Dale sat on the back of an ambulance, exhausted, watching as the last of the injured were carried inside on gurneys. One of the beings approached him, walking steadily despite a bandaged leg. This one skin flickered between green and blue. And when they spoke, the words came out in broken but understandable English. "You are the first," the being said, "the first who came." "Yeah, I guess so." "You helped us. Why?" Dale looked at the destroyed ship, at the medical tents full of injured aliens, at the humans working frantically to save lives they just learned existed. "Because you needed it," he said. "That's reason enough, isn't it?" The being's skin shifted to a warm gold color. "I am Lyra. We are Mirani. We were fleeing." "Fleeing what?" Lyra's color darkened. "Those who hunt us. The Vrathan. They destroyed our world, called us resources to be harvested. We escaped, but our ship failed. We thought we would die in the void. Instead, we found you." Dale felt anger rise in his chest. "Resources? Your people. The Vrathan do not see it that way. They process us, use our bodies for biological components to enhance their own." Lyra's voice broke. "We had no weapons, no way to fight. Only 200 of us remain from thousands. And now the Vrathan will find us here. How many others made it off your world? This is the last ship. The others were destroyed during escape." Lyra looked toward the rising sun. "I am sorry we brought danger to your world. If we had known, if we could have controlled the crash, we would have died in space rather than risk you. Dale stood up, his decision made before he even consciously thought about it. You listened to me. You didn't bring danger. Those Vrathan bastards, they're the danger. And if they come here looking for you, they're going to find out what happens when you threaten people under Earth's protection. But we are not your people. You are now. Dale looked toward the command tent where officers were gathering. Trust me on this. Humans don't do well with bullies, and we really don't do well with people who hunt refugees. By noon, the news had spread across the planet. Images of the crashed ship, of Mirani receiving medical care, of their story. The UN called an emergency session. Social media exploded with messages of support. Dale's phone wouldn't stop ringing with reporters, but he ignored them all. He sat with Lyra instead, watching as humanity mobilized. Medical teams from every major hospital. Linguists trying to learn Mirani language. Engineers examining the wrecked ship. And soldiers, thousands of them, taking up positions around the site. Your people move fast. Lyra observed. We do when it matters. Dale pointed to a group of National Guard soldiers erecting barriers. See them? They're not keeping you in. They're keeping threats out. Lyra's skin turned that warm gold again. We do not understand this. Compassion for strangers. Protection without benefit. Then you've been dealing with the wrong kind of species. Dale smiled. Welcome to Earth, Lyra. You're safe here. High above, invisible to the naked eye, sensors detected something entering the solar system. A Vrathan scout ship, following the ion trail of the refugee vessel, coming to finish what they'd started. And on Earth, humans prepared to teach the galaxy a lesson about what happened when you hunted the helpless. The tracking station outside Albuquerque picked up the signal 3 days after crash. A vessel, non-terrestrial, approaching from beyond Jupiter's orbit. The technician who saw it first thought it was a glitch until 3 other systems confirmed the same reading. Within an hour, every defense network on the planet knew. Something was coming, and it wasn't friendly. In a bunker beneath Cheyenne Mountain, military leaders from 17 nations gathered around holographic displays, showing the Vrathan scout ship's trajectory. General Patricia Keyes stood at the head of the table, her face grim as intelligence reports scrolled across screens. They're not hiding, she said. They want us to know they're here. A Russian general leaned forward. What are their capabilities? Based on sensor readings, their weapons could level a city from orbit. Shields strong enough to shrug off anything we currently have in space. Keyes pulled up tactical data. But it's just one ship. A scout. Scouts report back, the Chinese representative said. If this one confirms a Mirani location, how long before a fleet arrives? Intelligence suggests 30 to 40 days for a harvester fleet to reach Earth from Vrathan space. Keyes looked around the table. We have one choice to make right now. Do we give up the refugees, or do we fight? The vote was unanimous. Earth would not surrender the Mirani. The refugees themselves have been relocated to the Cheyenne Mountain complex, not as prisoners, but as protected guests. The massive underground facility could house thousands and withstand almost anything. Mirani children ran through corridors while their elders worked with human linguists and historians, sharing what they knew of Vrathan tactics. Pip, a young Mirani barely the equivalent of a human teenager, had attached himself to Corporal Stevens, a Marine assigned to facility security. The young alien followed the soldier everywhere, asking endless questions about weapons, tactics, and human protective instincts. Why do you carry guns if you're protectors? Pip asked, his skin shifting to curious yellow. Stevens checked his rifle's magazine before responding. Because protection isn't just about sheltering people. Sometimes you have to stand between them and danger. The gun helps me do that. The Vrathan have bigger guns. Probably, but we've got something they don't. What? Stevens smiled. We got something worth protecting, and we chose to do it. They're just following orders to harvest resources. Big difference in motivation. Above ground, construction crews worked around the clock. Every missile battery, every radar installation, every satellite with any offensive capability was being retasked. Private companies volunteered resources. SpaceX launched emergency supply runs to establish weapons caches in orbit. Blue Origin provided technical expertise for retrofitting satellites. Tesla's factories switched to producing electromagnetic pulse generators. The Vrathan ship sent its first transmission on day 5. The message played across every language, cold and bureaucratic. Primitive species of the third planet. You harbor biological resources belonging to the Vrathan Dominion. Surrender them within 48 planetary rotations, and you will receive technological compensation. Refuse and face consequences. The UN's response was drafted in 15 minutes and approved unanimously. Earth does not negotiate the surrender of refugees. Your demand is denied. Back in Cheyenne Mountain, Elder Soren watched the exchange on monitors, his skin flickering between fear purple and gratitude gold. Dr. Rebecca Hall, a trauma therapist assigned to help the Mirani, sat beside him. You should not do this, Soren said quietly. We are not worth a war. That's not your decision to make, Rebecca replied. And you're wrong about your worth. The Vrathan will kill thousands of you. Maybe, but we'll make them regret it. She pulled up news feeds showing global response. Millions of humans were organizing support networks. Veterans volunteered to guard Mirani facilities. Regular people sent letters to Cheyenne Mountain. Children drew pictures. Families offered to host refugees if evacuation became necessary. Soren read message after message, his skin color shifting through emotions humans were learning to interpret. I do not understand your species. Logic says you should trade us for peace. Logic isn't everything, Rebecca said. Sometimes you do things because they're right, even when they're hard. The Vrathan deadline approached. Coastal cities began evacuation procedures, not in panic, but in organized preparation. Nobody expected Earth to fold. The world had seen images of Mirani children, had heard their story, had watched recordings of their destroyed homeworld. Public opinion was ironclad. Earth protects refugees. On the final day, Lyra found Dale at an observation post watching the night sky. The rancher had refused to leave, staying at the facility as a civilian liaison to the Mirani. They will come, Lyra said. When we do not surrender, they will attack. Probably. You could still negotiate. Say we force you, that you had no choice. The Vrathan might accept that. Dale shook his head. We don't do that. We don't throw people to the wolves to save ourselves. Wolves. Predators. Hunters. He pointed to the stars. Your Vrathan up there, they think strength is about weapons and technology. They're about to learn different. 12 hours before the deadline, Soren approached General Keyes in the command center. His skin was determination red. The color humans had learned meant Mirani had made a difficult decision. We will surrender ourselves, Soren said, to save your world. Keyes didn't even look up from her tactical display. Request denied. You do not understand. The Vrathan will destroy you. They'll try. Keyes finally met his eyes. Elder Soren, we didn't save you from a crash just to hand you over now. You're under Earth's shield. That shield doesn't break because someone threatens it. It gets stronger. Why do you do this? Because a long time ago, humans learned something important. We learned that civilization isn't measured by your weapons or your technology. It's measured by how you treat the helpless. Right now, you're helpless. That makes protecting you the most civilized thing we can do. The deadline passed. The Vrathan ship moved closer, entering lunar orbit. Every defense system on Earth went active. Satellites armed. Ground installations powered up. Ships at sea launched their fighter squadrons. Not in panic, but in preparation. Pip watched from a monitor room. Stevens beside him. What happens now? Now we show them what happens when you threaten Earth's refugees. Stevens said, we show them that humanity protects its own, and you're ours now. In orbit, the Vrathan ship charged its weapons, confident in easy victory. They crushed dozens of primitive worlds. Earth would be no different. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 0 Hour arrived with weapon systems activating across the globe. The Vrathan scout ship hung in orbit above the Pacific. Inside, Captain Vorn reviewed Earth's defenses with amusement. Chemical rockets, primitive satellites, nuclear weapons that would harm their own world. Laughable. Target Los Angeles, Bourne ordered. One strike will break them. The main weapon charge, capable of vaporizing city blocks. Target locked. 4 million casualties expected. The weapon built power for 30 seconds. It never fired. 3 things happened simultaneously. Electromagnetic pulse waves from 5 satellites disrupted the Vrathan shields. Laser rays from Australia, Japan, and Chile focused on the weapon port. A tungsten rod struck the hull at 17,000 miles per hour. Shields failed. Laser fire superheated the weapon. The kinetic strike punched through and destroyed the charging mechanism. The weapon detonated internally, tearing a gash in the ship's side. Vorn clutched the station as alarms shrieked. How did they coordinate that? His officers showed displays of 70 armed platforms. They networked everything together. 6 continents worth of installations. Our intelligence said they barely reached orbit. Our intelligence was wrong, Captain. The second wave hit. More pulses, more lasers, more kinetic strikes. Vrathan defenses destroyed incoming projectiles and returned fire. 3 satellites exploded in brilliant flashes. But for every satellite eliminated, 2 more moved into position. This wasn't sophisticated warfare. This was brutal numbers, wielded with coordination. The humans couldn't match Vrathan technology, so they threw everything at one target until something broke. General Keyes watched tactical displays. They expected us to fold. We punched them in the mouth instead. We've lost 9 satellites, an aide reported. Expected. Continue assault. Cripple that ship, but keep the crew alive. We need intelligence. 17 minutes of coordinated strikes from platforms of Vrathan hadn't known existed. 17 minutes of hitting them until they couldn't hit back. When it ended, the Vrathan ship hung dead in space. Life support intact, but weapons and engines completely offline. Vorn stared at flickering displays in disbelief. They'd been beaten by primitives using nothing but mass, velocity, and timing. No advanced technology, just brutal efficiency and determination. Boarding teams arrived in retrofitted space planes, an international coalition. American Navy SEALs, Russian Spetsnaz, British SAS, Chinese Special Forces. They cut through the damaged hull and swept through corridors, finding 12 Vrathan crew members who surrendered without resistance. The aliens were tall, armored beings built for intimidation, but surrounded by determined humans in a crippled ship. They chose survival over pride. Rodriguez secured the captain. We have questions. You cannot defeat the Dominion, Vorn said through his translator. This was one ship. A fleet will come. We figured. But you'll tell us everything about that fleet. Then you'll watch while we prepare. The Vrathan were transported to Earth, given secure quarters with medical care and food. Prisoners treated by Geneva Convention standards adapted for aliens. This confused them more than the defeat. Why feed us? One guard asked his human counterpart. We are enemies. The Texas corporal shrugged. You're prisoners of war, not animals. We don't mistreat prisoners just because you would have harvested us. That makes no strategic sense. Maybe not to you, but that's who we are. Vorn proved cooperative once he realized his crew was treated well. He provided detailed intelligence. Fleet composition, arrival timeline, Vrathan tactics. Most importantly, confirmation of everything the Mirani had said. The recordings were damning. Images of Miran, the beautiful homeworld, reduced to processing facilities. Video of Mirani being herded into biological extraction centers. Records of harvest quotas. Efficiency metrics measuring how many beings could be processed per cycle. It wasn't war. It was industrialized genocide. The UN broadcast it all to the world. Public outrage, already high, turned to fury. But more importantly, the evidence was transmitted across multiple frequencies into space, recorded and sent by every nation with satellite capability. Somewhere out there, someone else might be listening. Someone else might care what the Vrathan were doing. Keyes visited Vorn personally. Your fleet, when? 37 days. For capital ships, 16 frigates. They'll reduce your world to ash. Maybe they'll learn your lesson. Keyes pulled up tactical displays showing the destroyed scout ship. You thought we'd be easy because we're primitive. You didn't account for the fact that we protect fiercely, adapt quickly, and really don't like bullies who hunt refugees. Your weapons cannot defeat a harvester fleet in open combat. Probably not in a fair fight. Good thing we don't fight fair. We got 37 days to prepare, and humans are terrifyingly creative when defending something that matters. Inside Mirani sections of Cheyenne Mountain, Pip found Stevens reviewing defensive plans. "We won," Pip said, his skin bright victory blue. "We won round one. The real fight's coming." "Are you scared?" Stevens considered honestly. "Terrified. But fear doesn't mean you run. It means you dig in deeper and protect what matters harder." Lyra approached with Soren, carrying data pads. "We have information. Vrathan ship designs, shield frequencies, tactical patterns from attacks on our world." "Every bit helps," Stephen said. "We want to do more. Some of our people wish to help directly. Non-combat roles, but active participation. We'll find positions for anyone who wants to help. You're part of this now. We crashed by accident. We brought danger. Yet you protect us, include us. That's what family does. And you're Earth's family now, whether you planned it or not." The crippled Vrathan ship was towed to Nevada for study. The crew would be held, treated well, used as leverage. 37 days from now, their fleet would arrive expecting easy harvest. Instead, they'd find a planet ready to show them what humanity meant by the phrase, "Nobody hurts our people." 20 days until the Vrathan fleet arrived, and Earth transformed into something the galaxy had never seen. Assembly lines in Detroit that once made cars now produce electromagnetic pulse generators. Factories in Seoul manufactured targeting computers. Shipyards in Mumbai welded kinetic platforms. Every nation contributed what it could, not because they had to, but because the alternative was unthinkable. In Bangalore, software engineers worked with Mirani mathematicians to optimize firing solutions. The aliens understood harmonics in ways humans didn't, and their equations improved laser efficiency by 18%. It wasn't military technology they shared, just their natural understanding of physics from a different perspective. Combined with human engineering, it created something neither species could achieve alone. Dr. Rebecca Hall watched Mirani children play with human kids in recreational areas. Young ones adapted faster, learning English from cartoons and teaching their melodic language through songs. A Mirani girl named Fire explained color motion to fascinated humans, her skin shifting through the spectrum. "When we're happy, we turn gold like sunshine," Fire demonstrated. "When scared, purple like deep water." "What do humans do?" "We smile when happy," a boy named Colin said, "and cry when sad." "Your face leaks? That's so weird." Fire-Eye's skin flickered amusement orange. Rebecca smiled, but her tablet buzzed with concerning data. Evaluations showed 17% of Mirani adults experiencing severe trauma responses. They'd lost their world, their people, and now watched another species prepare to die defending them. The guilt was overwhelming for some. She found Elder Soren documenting everything in the Book of Human Kindness. Every act of protection, every sacrifice, every moment of compassion recorded in meticulous detail. "The guilt is getting worse for some of your people," Rebecca said gently. Soren's skin turned sorrow blue. "We brought death to your door. How can we not feel responsible?" "You didn't bring death. The Vrathan did. You brought the chance for us to prove who we are. By dying for strangers? By standing for what's right." She showed him news feeds from around the world. "Look, people are volunteering faster than we can process them. Retirement-age veterans demanding to be put back on duty. Teenagers lying about their age to enlist. Not because they want war, but because they believe protecting you is worth the risk. Even if you lose? Even then, because the fight itself matters." Construction continued in orbit and on the moon. Kinetic bombardment platforms, simple but devastating. Tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds. No explosives needed, just mass and velocity. The physics were ancient, but the application was entirely new. Launch platforms dotted the lunar surface. Automated systems ready to rain metal death on approaching vessels. Stevens ran Pip through basic emergency procedures, teaching the young Mirani what to do if the mountain was breached. Not combat training, just survival skills and evacuation protocols. If alarms sound 3 times, you go to Shelter Alpha 7. Don't wait. Don't grab belongings. Just go. What about you? I'll be doing my job, making sure you get there safely. Pip's skin flickered concern yellow. You could die. Maybe, but that's what I signed up for. Stevens checked his rifle, a habit now. Pip, we're not naturally violent. We don't love war, but we're very good at it when we need to be, because we fight for reasons that matter. The Vrathan fight for resources. Exactly. They fight for things. We fight for people. Big difference in motivation. Engineers reverse-engineered the captured Vrathan ship held in Nevada. The technology was beyond Earth's capability to reproduce, but understanding it helped develop countermeasures. Shield harmonics, weapon frequencies, engine signatures, all analyzed and recorded. Captain Vorn watched from his comfortable detention cell, confused by his treatment. 3 meals daily, medical care, even entertainment access. His guards were professional but not cruel. Officer Park brought him Earth history books. Why give me these? You should understand the species you threaten, Park replied. Read about our wars. We lose sometimes, but we make them so costly that even victory tastes like defeat. That's what your fleet is sailing into. Vorn read through the night, disturbed by each page. Humanity's history showed stubborn refusal to surrender when outmatched. They'd fought empires with guerrilla tactics, resisted occupations for generations, sacrificed millions for principles they believed in. Your species is insane, Vorn said. Park smiled. The good kind of insane. The kind that protects kids who aren't even our species. Evacuation procedures finalized for major cities. Bunkers stocked. Emergency services positioned. Nobody expected easy victory, but nobody was surrendering. Lyra worked with linguists, teaching Mirani language and learning more English. She'd become an unofficial ambassador, bridging the cultural gap. One evening she found Dale watching news. The fleet arrives in 15 days. I know. You could evacuate. The mountain will be a target. Dale shook his head. I was here when you crashed. I'll be here when this ends, whatever that ending looks like. You are a strange man, Dale Hutchins. I'm a simple man. I see someone who needs help. I help them. That's not strange. That's just decent. Lyra's skin turned gratitude gold. When this is over, if we survive, the Mirani will remember for 1,000 generations. And if we don't survive, the galaxy will still know what happened here. That matters, even if we lose. We're not losing, Dale said firmly. Humans are stubborn that way. Final preparations completed. Every weapon positioned, every soldier briefed, every civilian sheltered. The Vrathan would find no easy prey. In Cheyenne Mountain, Keyes reviewed defensive positions one last time. 15 days until contact. 15 days to teach the galaxy what happened when you threatened humanity's refugees. The countdown had begun. The Vrathan harvester fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at Neptune's orbit, for capital ships each stretching 2 kilometers in length, surrounded by 16 frigates bristling with weapons designed to break planetary defenses. Fleet Commander Graf reviewed the primitive world ahead with satisfaction. One scout ship had been lost, but that changed nothing. The harvest would proceed. Broadcast standard compliance message. Graf ordered. The message transmitted across all frequencies. Surrender the Mirani biological resources. Submit to Dominion Authority. You have 24 planetary rotations to comply. Earth's response came simultaneously from every nation on the planet, a unified chorus in hundreds of languages that all meant the same thing. No. Graf's tactical officer looked uncertain. Commander, the primitives defeated our scout ship. With numbers and luck, we are a fleet. They have nothing that can stop us. Graf leaned back. Begin approach. Standard harvesting speed. Let them see their doom coming. The fleet advanced toward Jupiter, confident and unconcerned. They passed the gas giant's orbit without incident, continuing their methodical approach toward the inner system. Mars came and went. The moon, still no resistance. Then everything changed. At precisely calculated intervals, automated platforms hidden in the asteroid belt activated. Tungsten rods launch at relativistic speeds, dozens of them, all targeted on the lead capital ship. The Vrathan point defense systems engaged, destroying most of the projectiles. But not all. 3 rods struck home. The capital ship's shields absorbed the first 2, flickering but holding. The third punched through a weakened section and tore into the ship's hull, venting atmosphere and destroying a weapons battery. Evasive maneuvers. Grath shouted, "Return fire, destroy those platforms." The fleet scattered, weapons blazing. Kinetic platforms died in bursts of superheated metal. But the damage was done. 1 capital ship damaged, 2 frigates showing shield failures, and the Vrathan fleet's confidence shaken. "They were waiting for us," the tactical officer said. "Impossible. They're primitives with chemical rockets." The scout ship said the same thing, "Commander," right before they disabled it. Grath growled but ordered the fleet to proceed with caution. They advanced more slowly now, point defense systems on maximum alert, shields reinforced. The journey to Earth orbit took 6 hours instead of 2, but they arrived intact. Earth hung before them, blue and beautiful and apparently defenseless. No ships rose to meet them. No final transmissions of surrender. Just silence. "Deploy harvesting positions," Grath ordered. "Target major population centers. 1 demonstration strike. Then they'll negotiate." The capital ships spread into formation, each targeting a different city. Beijing, New York, London, Sao Paulo. Weapons charged, building energy for strikes that would vaporize millions and break humanity's will. The strikes never launched. Coordinated fire from 70 satellites, every remaining orbital platform Earth had, all focused on the fleet simultaneously. Electromagnetic pulses disrupted shields. Laser rays from ground installations on 6 continents fired in sequence, each beam focusing on the same target points. Kinetic strikes from lunar platforms rained tungsten death. This wasn't elegant warfare. This was brutal, overwhelming force from every angle at once. For every platform of Vrathan destroyed, 2 more fired from different positions. For every satellite they eliminated, 3 ground installations locked on. The battle became a grinding stalemate. Vrathan technology was superior, their shields stronger, their weapons more powerful. But humans had numbers and position. Every weapon Earth possessed, from orbit to ground to lunar surface, all networked and coordinated to strike as one. Grath watched his tactical display in disbelief as another frigate went dark. Shields collapsed and engines destroyed. How are they coordinating this? They don't have fleet combat experience. They adapted, Commander. They're using our own capture intelligence against us, targeting known weak points in our shield generators. Hours passed. The Vrathan fleet could win. Grath knew they had the firepower to break through Earth's defenses eventually, but the cost was staggering. 7 frigates destroyed completely, all capital ships showing damage, weapon systems failing, shield generators burning out, and the primitives kept fighting. Inside Cheyenne Mountain, Pip watched the battle feeds with Corporal Stevens, his skin flickering between fear purple and all gold. They're not stopping. The Vrathan have better weapons, but your people won't stop. That's humanity for you, Stevens said tiredly. He'd been on duty for 18 hours straight. We're stubborn. Once we decide to protect something, we don't quit. But you're losing platforms. Satellites destroyed, ground installations damaged. Yeah, but we're making them pay for every inch. Stevens pointed to the tactical display, showing a damaged Vrathan capital ship limping away from the main formation. That ship won't be harvesting anyone today. General Keyes coordinated the defense from the command center, her voice hoarse from constant orders. Every time a Vrathan ship targeted a city, every available weapon focused on that ship until it backed down or was disabled. Los Angeles was saved by simultaneous strikes from 9 different platforms. Tokyo was protected when ground-based railguns shredded the frigate threatening it. But Earth was bleeding. 73% of orbital defenses were gone. Ground installations were running out of ammunition. The lunar platforms had exhausted their kinetic reserves. And still the Vrathan fleet remained battered but functional. Then something unexpected happened. New contacts appeared on sensors, emerging from faster-than-light travel at the solar system's edge. Not Vrathan reinforcements. Different signatures, multiple ships from various species. Observer vessels, broadcasting galactic assembly credentials. A transmission reached both Earth and the Vrathan fleet. This is Assembly Observer Tress of the Aurum. We have monitored this conflict. Cease hostilities for diplomatic contact. Graff stared at his communications display. The Assembly? Here? This is an internal Dominion matter. The Assembly has no jurisdiction. The entire galaxy is watching this transmission, Commander Graff. The evidence of Mirani genocide, the documentation of your harvesting operations, all broadcast by Earth across multiple frequencies. You cannot hide this anymore. On Earth, people watched as dozens of alien vessels appeared on screens. Not attackers or defenders, but witnesses. The galaxy had been watching, and now it was responding. Tress continued broadcasting. Earth invoked right of sanctuary, a principle recognized across civilized space. The Mirani are refugees, not resources. Commander Graff, you have two options. Withdraw and face Assembly sanctions, or continue your attack and be labeled a rogue operation. The Vrathan fleet held position, weapons still charged but not firing. And on Earth, exhausted defenders waited to see if 36 hours of brutal combat had bought them something more valuable than victory. They bought the galaxy's attention. The shield had held. Now humanity would see if the galaxy cared. The standoff lasted 3 hours. Vrathan fleet above Earth. Assembly observers maintaining distance. Humanity's battered defenses still operational. Commander Graff received encrypted orders from Dominion High Command. All vessels, withdraw from primitive system, Graff announced. The official statement stung. Earth's resistance and contamination of Mirani resources render them unsuitable for harvesting. The Dominion withdraws its claim. Face-saving bureaucracy that meant one thing. Earth had won. The Vrathan limped home with 7 frigates lost and every ship damaged. They'd expected easy harvest. Instead, they'd found a species that protected strangers with everything they had. Observer Tress's ship approached Earth orbit. People of Earth, I am Tress, speaking for the Galactic Assembly. We witness your defense. We review the evidence you broadcast. And we discuss what your actions mean. Thousands gathered to watch. Dale stood with Lyra, exhausted. Pip held Stevens' hand. The Assembly is not military. We are scientists, diplomats, traders, explorers. We observed Vrathan aggression for years, but lacked will confront it. You had no hesitation. You fought superior force to protect refugees you'd known weeks. Keyes watched from the command center. 12,000 military casualties. 28,000 civilians killed. The numbers were still being counted. The Assembly formally recognizes Earth as sovereign and extends invitation to join us. We offer medical assistance, reconstruction aid, technological exchange. But more importantly, we acknowledge you taught the galaxy a forgotten lesson. Civilization isn't measured by technology or power. It's measured by what you sacrifice for those who cannot defend themselves. Subdued cheering spread to the mountain. They'd won, but the cost was real. Soren approached Keyes, his skin gratitude gold. Your people saved us and changed the galaxy. We did what was right. No, you did what was extraordinary. Soren held up the book of human kindness. This will be shared with every species. The galaxy will know what humanity is capable of. Recovery began. Assembly medical ships provided technology that helped treat human wounded. Reconstruction aid poured from species with their own stories of fleeing persecution. The Mirani settlement near the crash site became permanent. They built homes blending their architecture with human designs. Children attended schools together. Families shared meals. 6 months later, Dale sat on his porch watching Mirani and human children play. Lyra joined him with coffee, something she'd grown to love. I still struggle to understand. You risked everything for strangers. That's why it mattered. If we only protected people we knew, what kind of species would we be? You needed help. Simple as that. The galaxy is changing because of Earth. Maybe we reminded everyone what being civilized means. Dale pointed to a memorial being constructed, honoring those who died. Those people gave their lives for you, not for reward, because protecting the helpless is what humanity does when we're at our best. Rebecca Hall published findings on psychological impact. Mirani, who'd been broken by genocide, were healing faster than predicted. They'd witnessed a planet fight for them. That proof they were worth protecting gave them something medication never could. Pip graduated emergency training and began formal education, still shadowing Stevens. The young Mirani became fascinated by human concepts of duty, writing papers blending Mirani philosophy with human ethics. Vrathan Crew was eventually repatriated. Captain Vorn requested to speak with Keyes before leaving. I underestimated your species. I thought compassion was weakness. Learn from that. Tell your people, the galaxy's changing. Species that protect each other are forming bonds. Species that prey on the weak face more resistance. Vorn nodded. What I witnessed was spread among my people. Change is coming. A year later, Earth formally joined the Galactic Assembly, not as junior members, but as equals who'd proven their worth. Tress addressed the UN during ceremony. Earth did not save the Mirani for glory or gain. You saved them because it was right. That truth resonated across the galaxy. Dozens of species are reviewing refugee policies. Others are forming mutual protection agreements. What you started is becoming a movement. Soren stood before the assembly, broadcasting to hundreds of worlds. My people lost our home, our civilization, nearly everything. But we found something unexpected. A species proving strength isn't about weapons or conquest. True strength is standing between the vulnerable and harm. Earth showed us this. Now we show the galaxy. The Book of Human Kindness was published across the Assembly Network, translated into 87 languages. It became required reading in schools on 40 worlds. Children across the galaxy learned about the rancher who helped crash victims, the soldiers who fought impossible odds, the planet that said no to bullies. Dale never sought fame. He returned to his ranch. His quiet life now shared with Mirani neighbors and human friends who'd been through fire together. The memorial stood completed near the crash site. Simple stone listing names of those who died. Human and Mirani names together, because they become one people. The inscription read, "They stood between us and harm. We will remember." On quiet evenings, Dale and Lyra sat on that porch, watching stars. Somewhere up there, other species faced challenges. Other refugees fled persecution. Other bullies threatened the weak. But now the galaxy knew there was a world that protected those who couldn't protect themselves. A species measuring civilization by compassion. A planet called Earth, where strangers became family, and the shield never broke for those who needed it most.